Stage 3 of the Carver observation is the observation of assessment. At this stage, this is where you, the candidate assessor, will assess your learner within their natural working role. As we can see, we have the candidate assessor observing the learner on a construction site, and they're both wearing high-vis jackets and therefore promoting health and safety and PPE. But what happens at this stage? So the observation is the opportunity for you, the candidate assessor, to see the learner within their working role. You will need to use your own standards and criteria in order to judge the learner's performance. So the standards and criteria are there so you ensure that you are objective as an assessor. Behind me, we have a list of standards. So this is what you are going to use as a guide for when you are going to observe your learner. In terms of the standards and criteria, my advice is to keep them as simple as possible. You could aim for 1 to 2 pages maximum, like so. And this is going to be a useful guide when you're judging your performance of the learner. So aim for 1 to 2 pages, and in terms of where you find these standards or criteria, not a problem. You can often find them perhaps within a staff handbook, okay? It could be on an awarding body website as well, okay? It could be any policy or procedure within your organisation. Some of our assessing candidates do create their own standards and criteria. This is absolutely fine as well, but it's very important that you do talk to the learner prior to your assessment just to communicate your standards and criteria here. But please make sure they are aiming for a maximum of 1 to 2 pages. They don't have to be too detailed here. And once again, my advice is to print out your standards and criteria along with your observation form, and that is going to make the practical observation easier for you to navigate with a printed copy of your standards and criteria. In terms of the observation of assessment, a few key points here. So please ensure that you are giving your learner enough proximity so you're not intruding on their space, okay? Of course, it's very important that you see the duration of the assessment and you see them demonstrating their skills, but also just remember to take a step back, and so you can of course see them and you can write your observation notes as well. So do be objective to use your standards and criteria and to use proximity. Use valid, fair and reliable assessment methods. Watch the full assessment as well, okay, so very important not to be distracted, okay. Yes, writing down observation notes is important, but watching the entire observation is just as important here. So perhaps make some short notes. Of course, you could perhaps fill them in more detail afterwards, but it's very important that you do see the learner's full assessment and their full skill set as well. So remain in a position to see and hear what is going on, okay? There's going to be perhaps lots of distractions around the site where you are assessing, okay? So perhaps put your phone on silent, okay? Let your colleagues know that an assessment is taking place and you do need to concentrate fully as an assessor there as well. Other key points, of course, is to wear appropriate PPE. And also to take photos of the assessment as well. So that's very important. For each assessment, we do suggest seeing a minimum of 4 to 5 photos to demonstrate that the assessment took place. Okay, so if you might struggle with this, you could perhaps ask a fellow colleague if they wouldn't mind taking photos of your assessment as well. Okay, and in terms of other key points, is if you feel that you've seen enough of the criteria, okay, for one section, you could ask the learner to progress to the next stage as well, okay? And so you have the judgment there to move a learner on if you have seen enough of the criteria as well. In terms of the observation form, perhaps aim for 1 to 2 pages of observation notes, okay? Bullet points, as I said, is fine. And then, of course, you can write down in greater detail after the assessment has taken place. But please make sure that your observation is safe, secure, and you're not distracted by anything that might occur as well. So this is stage 3, and in our next video we are going to be looking at stage 4, which is the questions of the assessment.